Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right, right, right.
Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of digital fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn. Today's deck is very interesting, but before we get to that, I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons over on Patreon. All of my early adopters, you've been super gracious, and the channel honestly wouldn't be able to stay afloat without you guys. So thank you so much to my patrons at the Brew Crew Elite tier, Yuck Foozy, Noah Vincent, Bob Steele, and Brittany. I appreciate you so much more than words can say. Also, a huge shout out to Terrence Rohrbach at the partner level for just contributing more than I'm comfortable even saying in a video, but it is greatly appreciated. I don't know where I would be without you, buddy, so thank you so much. And speaking of that, we were able to get the Ryzen CPU we needed to be fully functional and online. It was shipped, it did arrive, and I am super grateful. So thank you guys for sticking with me. Thank you to my patrons, and I'm just super grateful. So today's deck is called Dead to Rites. Now, this is my first attempt at building a deck in a post-ban standard, in an environment that's lacking Invoke Despair, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and Reckoner Bankbuster. I just really feel like being able to leverage control and really take it to the aggro decks is going to be super important, but also being able to stand toe-to-toe with some of the control builds out there will also be important. And I think this deck really has legs and can kind of get there. It's utilizing a lot of interesting synergies, a few things I've done in the past and a few things that are new, and I think it's something really special. So before we check out the deck, make sure you like the video if you haven't already so that we can push it out to more people. The YouTube algorithm cares about that kind of stuff, so I would greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a deck tech upload, and also you should head on over to Twitch, check me out over there because I'm alive all the time. If I'm alive and I'm breathing, I'm there and I'm streaming. So check me out at twitch.tv/quarantinecapricorn. And now let's check out the deck. Alright, so the concept of this deck is pretty simple. We're trying to take advantage of the fact that now that Invoke Despair, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and Reckoner Bankbuster are banned from Standard, there's probably going to be an uptick in aggro decks, and some of the mid-range and control decks are really taking a hit. So we're gonna try to capitalize on that by playing a very strong control-oriented brew. But every single card, or at least almost every single card in this deck, is kind of an automatic 2-for-1, and most of the control elements also double as board pressure if you're playing against another control deck. So we're gonna start at the bottom of the curve here. And we're going to talk about the core concept behind the deck, which is Invasion of New Capenna and Rite of Oblivion. So the idea here is we're basically playing 8 Rite of Oblivions. It's like playing with 8 of these. In a way, it's kind of like playing like 12, since the actual Rite of Oblivions have flashback and you can use them a second time. But both of these cards work in a similar fashion, where when they enter the battlefield, or in Rite of Oblivion's case, when you cast it, you can sacrifice something in order to destroy something. With Rite of Oblivion, you can sacrifice any non-land permanent to exile any non-land permanent. With Invasion of New Capenna, you have to sacrifice an artifact or creature in particular, and then you get to exile any artifact or creature. So we have to be careful with how we use Invasion of New Capenna and make sure if we have a target for this, it takes priority over playing something like Rite of Oblivion, so that we can save our Rite of Oblivion for maybe other targets that aren't artifact or creatures like enchantments or planeswalkers, or whatever the case may be. But it's also worth noting that Rite of Oblivion can be cast and choose to sacrifice an Invasion of New Capenna. So if we've already played an Invasion of New Capenna to deal with a threat, we can then play Rite of Oblivion and sacrifice the Invasion of New Capenna to deal with another threat, and then still have a Rite of Oblivion to flash back in our graveyard. There's just so many ways to control our opponent's field and exile almost any problematic permanent that we need to. Now, we're going to have to support this sort of archetype by playing a lot of control, but we're also gonna have to play things that are creating permanents that we're able to sacrifice. So finding cards that kind of work in both ways and have that synergy built in are important. So we're also playing 4 copies of Bloodtithe Harvester. This will make a blood token when it comes into play. We can use the Harvester itself as removal to give something -2/-2 or -4/-4 if we have played a second Bloodtithe Harvester and got another blood token out. But we also have this blood token that can be sacrificed to the Rite of Oblivion or to the Invasion of New Capenna if we need to. So there's extra value there. And if we're playing against another control deck and we just want to play something and start swinging it and put pressure on our opponent, it can do that as well as a 3 power creature for only 2. Moving on, we've also got Invasion of Azgol in the 2-drop slot. This is a 4 defense counter battle. It's going to come into play for 2 mana. They're going to have to sacrifice a creature or a planeswalker and lose a life. And then later in the game, if we happen to flip it, it becomes Ashen Reaper, a 2/1 menace, and every time one of our permanents goes into the graveyard from the battlefield, it gets a counter. Since this deck is sacrificing permanents constantly, an Ashen Reaper can actually grow pretty big pretty quick, and then the menace really matters once this thing's body starts to really get built up. So we've got tons of 2-drops there. Moving on to the 3-drops, we've got 4 Wedding Announcement. It's kind of like a poor man's Fable of the Mirror Breaker in a way, because similar to how Fable provided automatic extra value, 2-for-1 value, kind of 2.5-for-1 value, Wedding Announcement does something similar, just in a less powerful way. So it's going to give us a 1/1 every turn for 3 turns, and then flip over into Wedding Festivity and buff our whole team. Occasionally, instead of getting a 1/1, we'll draw a card, so it's a nice way to get a little extra card draw, but a lot of the times we're just going to be using those 1/1 tokens as sacrifice fodder, or things that we can get rid of in order to get rid of their problematic permanents, with like Invasion of New Capenna and Rite of Oblivion. We've also got 4 copies of Urabrask's Forge, and this card is amazing in this deck because as long as we're dealing with the opponent's side of the board, if the Urabrask's Forge goes uncontested for long enough, it just wins the game outright by itself. And since almost everything in this deck is just controlling the board, it's very easy for us to just stay alive long enough for this thing to build up the value it needs and just close the game out. But what's also important to note is that the creature, after we swing with it, we can then sacrifice to any of our abilities, and it's not going to matter because the Forge makes a new token creature every single turn, a bigger one every single turn than it was the turn prior. So not only do we get to swing with this big hasty trampler every turn, but we have kind of free sacrifice fodder in order to use for things like the Rite of Oblivion and the Invasion of New Capenna, which is really, really awesome. We've got 1 Ob Nixilis, the Adversary here too. This is another good sacrifice payoff where we can close the game outright if we happen to get it at the right time. But even just sacrificing a 1/1 token and having 2 of these and being able to generate devil tokens that we can then sacrifice to the other things that need stuff to sacrifice, that can go way overboard. If we're against a control deck, we can uptick, make them discard or lose life, and eventually it gets out of hand. So this can get really gnarly, but especially with Urabrask's Forge, if we've had a Forge online for long enough, and it gets to the point where it's a 7/1 trample haste attacking, after combat, we can play Ob Nixilis, sacrifice the 7/1 token that's just going to die anyway, and immediately make 2 Ob Nixilises, and the copy has 7 loyalty, and can immediately ultimate to make our opponent draw 7 and lose 7 life. Or if we're desperate and we don't mind losing the life, just make ourselves draw 7. Either way, a lot of times that ultimate is just the way to completely close out the game right then and there. And paired up with Urabrask's Forge, it can really put in some work. In the 4-drop slot, we have Edgar, Charmed Groom, just 1 copy of this. It's another good way to generate value, generate tokens that we can sacrifice to things. It's a 4/4 Vampire Noble for 4. Gives all our other vampires +1/+1, so it's got a little bit of extra synergy built in with Bloodtithe Harvester. If it dies, it becomes the Coffin and starts spitting out 1/1 lifelinkers every turn for 3 turns, and then flips back into Edgar, buffing the 1/1s that you just made. So we use that sacrifice fodder, but also sacrificing the Edgar itself so that we can force it to become the Coffin. Sometimes that's viable as well. Moving on, we have in the 5-drop slot Invasion of Ravnica, which is one of the cornerstones of this deck. Now, I haven't seen anybody really use this card, but it's kind of perfect for this deck. First of all, for 5 mana, we can play a 4 defense counter battle that will just exile any non-land permanent an opponent controls as long as it isn't exactly 2 colors. And that's a little bit expensive, but it's nice to have something that doesn't need a sacrifice. Most of the things in this deck do, but it's nice to have that little bit of extra at the top end. Just slam it, get rid of the thing, put a little extra value on the field in the form of this battle, and then maybe at some point we can flip it into the Paragon. And once we do flip it into the Paragon, that's when things get really nutty. We get a 5/5 construct, and whenever we cast a spell that's exactly 2 colors, we get to look at the top 6 cards of our library and can reveal a card that's exactly 2 colors from among them and put it into our hand. So what's cool about this deck is the fact that once Paragon's out, we have 4, 8, 12, 16, 17, 18 cards in the deck that are exactly 2 colors. That's almost 2 in every 6 cards. So we are bound to see at least 1 in every 6 cards. Every once in a great while it might whiff, but for the most part, every time we play a double color spell, we should be able to look at the top 6 and definitely find another one. And then we play that one, and we look at the top 6 and we find another one, and it just chains together, which gets insanely nutty. And sometimes that can close the game outright, especially when combined with one of our sweepers. Now, moving on to a couple of key cards to note in this deck. We are playing a lot of targeted removal. We're also playing some sacrifice removal here in the form of Invasion of Azgol. But sacrifice removal is really good when paired with sweepers, because you can sweep maybe some of the stuff that's smaller and leave behind one giant threat with something like Invasion of Karsus, and then take out that last threat by making them sacrifice it. So Invasion of Karsus is super good. 4 mana, 2 red and 2 for a 4 defense counter battle. When it enters, you do 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker, so it's an easy way to sweep the board, to deal with aggro early on. And then we have this battle, and if we can attack it and flip it, which, another thing worth noting, it's really easy to attack and flip all of these battles with Urabrask's Forge, because it doesn't matter if they block or not, we have trample, and if they want to trade their ground presence, their actual guys that are valuable, for our thing, our token that's just going to be sacrificed at end of turn anyway, and then we just get another one, that's fine with us. So it's really easy to eventually just keep swinging with the Forge and get through and flip these battles. And when we have Refraction Elemental on the field, now we have a 4/4. They can't get rid of it unless they pay 2 life for targeting it because of the ward. And then whenever we cast any spell at all, Refraction Elemental deals 2 damage to each opponent. Now, you'll see in some of the games, you can chain this with the Paragon. And so you play a 2-drop, it triggers the Refraction Elemental, deals 2 damage to the opponent, searches the top 6 because of Paragon, finds another one, does it again, deals 2 damage, triggers the Paragon again, finds another one, play it again, deal 2 damage. It can get absolutely absurd. So a way to control the aggro board as we're curving out, but then contribute to our board presence against control, or just our win conditions when the time is right that we want to close out the game, is super, super good. So 3 Invasion of Karsus, and then the last card I want to talk about is the other side of the coin when it comes to sweepers. This is Sunfall. Now, Sunfall is great because, like I said before, everything in this deck is automatically a 2-for-1 for the most part. But Sunfall takes it a step further because not only is it going to exile all creatures, wipe their board, we don't care if we lose our Urabrask's Forge token or a 1/1 from a wedding announcement, like whatever. It just now adds to how big the Incubate token's going to be. Because when we play Sunfall, we also Incubate X. which gives us an incubate token that we can pay 2 mana and turn into a creature at any time, and it's got counters on it, +1/+1 counters equal to the number of creatures that were exiled. So if we made a token that we just swung in with Urabrask's Forge, before we have to sacrifice it at end of turn, if we play a Sunfall, it will add an extra +1/+1 counter to that incubate token. Same thing with Wedding Announcement. If we have some leftover lingering 1/1s, but it's still super necessary to sweep the board, at least those 1/1s will contribute to how big the incubate token is when we play the Sunfall. So there's a lot of extra value to be had to not only clear out the entire board, but give us more board presence in the form of that Phyrexian incubate token. And there's just so much value to be had here, especially combined with all the other cards we're playing. You can play a Sunfall while your battles aren't flipped yet to keep the battles on the field so you don't lose them, and then afterwards swing and flip the battles, and then you have even more board presence, and it can just get completely off the rails. But that's essentially the deck that we're going for, and the games are super interesting. The mana base is pretty important. We don't have any triomes, so we've got 4 Sundown Pass, 4 Battlefield Forge, 2 Haunted Ridge, 4 Blackcleave Cliffs, 2 Shattered Sanctum, 4 Caves of Koilos, 1 of each of the New Capenna legendary lands, and then just 1 Mirrex, because we don't want to muck up the mana base too much, but that 1 Mirrex sometimes can create tokens on its own that can then be sacrificed for value with all the cards that need sacrifice targets in this deck, and I think that's worth it on its own. In fact, I'm pretty sure we put it to use in the game, so that's the deck. It was super fun to play. Let's check out the games. We can keep this. This looks good. Start with the Sundown Pass. Alright, Blackcleave Cliffs. Play the Harvester. Ossification. Alright. I mean, we're still left with the blood tokens, so I'm not really worried about that. Wedding Announcement. Jukai Naturalist. We should probably kill the Jukai Naturalist. We have a lot of land, so I think I actually want to save the blood token and just get rid of the 1/1. We'll end the turn. And at the end of his turn, we'll use the blood token to get rid of probably Battlefield Forge. Draw something nice. Alright. Do we want to use Invasion of Ravnica to get rid of Wedding Announcement? Yeah, I think that's the way to go to start. Take away his value here, let him commit more creatures to the board, and then Invasion of Karsus. don't think he wants to block at all. But who knows? He could get crazy. Ah, clever. Very clever. Okay with that. We've got a Karsus coming up, so... Tilda. Part of me just wants to Rite of Oblivion the Catilda. I think I'm going to, actually. We'll Karsus. We'll Karsus. Alright. Now we have a 3-1 next turn coming from the Forge, and we can flip any of these. Whichever one we want. It's probably Ravnica, because we have a Harvester ready to go. But Karsus would be really good, too. Another Forge. Alright, we're gonna go... Guess we're gonna go both at Ravnica, in case he has a blocker. Alright, we'll play Guildpact Paragon. We'll follow that up with Bloodtithe Harvester. Trigger it, find another Bloodtithe Harvester. Very sick. Alright, we're ready. The time is now. Calyx. Alright, alright. You got it. Ossification on Paragon, I assume? Yeah. That's okay. We destroy the ossification, and we get to reuse Paragon as the Invasion of Ravnica, which is even sicker. Man, we got Karsus over here. We gotta go Karsus for sure. Swing here. Swing here. Swing here. Yeah. That's the plan. He's gonna block the Harvester, right? That's kind of pointless, but okay. Now I'm not even sure if I want to Invasion of Karsus. I think we'll just Rite of Oblivion this, sacking this, triggering this, get back the Ravnica. Oh, that isn't exactly 2 colors. I guess I flubbed that, huh? Well, we'll just kill that. We'll get that. And then we will be able to kill the Calyx next turn. Pretty easily, I think. Catilda's Rising Dawn. Enjoy it while it lasts, my friend. Well, you needed to get it. You need to get it to 8 in order to survive. So, good luck. See what he does. Let's see what he does. If I can just chain Guild Pack Paragon triggers into Refraction Elemental triggers, Bloodtithe Harvester, find a 2-drop, Bloodtithe Harvester, find a 2-drop. Man. Could get pretty wild. Alright, it's gonna let it get flipped. Takes 2. Harvester. Guild Pack Paragon and Refraction Elemental trigger. Oh man. Harvester. Harvester. Guild Pack Paragon. Ob Nixilis. 2 more from Refraction Elemental. And then we'll go Protection from Vampires. I forgot all about the Protection from Vampires. That changes things. Alright, I wouldn't have found that last Bloodtithe Harvester then. I would have grabbed the Rite of Oblivion, taken care of the Calyx. Oversight on my part. Hopefully we can survive, because we'll definitely win next turn if we can survive this turn circle. Resolve. My turn. There's the Rite of Oblivion. That makes me happy. I'm gonna sack you to kill you. I'm gonna Rite of Oblivion the Calyx. Trigger both. Get Invasion of New Capenna. So many options here. Trying to figure out which is actually the best one. Trigger both. Find Edgar. Swing, 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 swing. We'll hold back everything else, just in case. And then we should have lethal next turn. We've also got Invasion of Karsus ready to go. The Ashen Reaper's finally big enough to survive it. So that could be the way we go. We could use Bloodtithe Harvester to nerf whatever big creature he might play. And then Invasion of Karsus to sweep everything up. Yeah, there we go. Paragon putting in work.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
This is post-ban. This is a post-ban deck. I'll keep 7. So for anyone that's not quite aware, starting tomorrow on Arena, today in physical cards and on MTG Online, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Invoke Despair, and Reckoner Bankbuster are all banned. Are you ready to Karsus? I will absolutely trade with Yorona. No question, my friend. Absolutely no question. Could kill the Rona right now. Sure. I think I'll play the wedding announcement instead. And then we can Karsus next turn. To kill Rona and hopefully something else. Interesting. Karsus does not touch Shieldred, and I think Shieldred is the priority here. Sack you. Get rid of Shieldred. Play another Harvester. Should be able to take out that Invasion of New Capenna next turn. Just digging. Dig, dig, dig. Dig, shovel, dig. Can you imagine? Can you even imagine? Urtai resurrected. Sure. You're gonna be really upset. Really, really upset. Save the Sunfall in case you get something out like Shieldred again that the Karsus can't kill. Even though it's really tempting to play the Sunfall and get a token. There's the Shieldred. What did I tell you? Sunfall. Alright. Now we just gotta build back our board. Thalia. Wonderful. Steel Seraph. Also wonderful. Let's see, 4 and 3. Guess we'll just do it like this. We can kill something with Eiganjo. Even better. Channel the Eiganjo. Channeling Takenuma. Why wouldn't you do that afterwards so that you could get the Steel Seraph back? Rona. Alright. Make you sack something. I think it's better not to swing. Alright. Wedding announcements just going off. Adeline's coming out to play. Yeah. Goodbye. Do you guys just understand the feeling of a wonderfully brewed pot of coffee just waiting for you? Oh, it's so good. It's so nice. We'll keep 7. Cliffs are coming down. It's time to go to work. Forge is coming down. It's still time to go to work. Commune with spirits, sure. Do some Sokenzan. Play some Forge. Swing 4. And I think that's just game. We'll see. We shall see. We've got Azgol if he plays 1 creature. Ob Nixilis if we need it. Karsus if we draw a land. I think we swing first. Hobby. Sack the 2/1.
I don't need respect. Just obedience. You work for me now, Run.
Tick.
By coins.
Thank you, friend.
Carnage. Tribute is owed.
Plays a companion. Looks like he doesn't have quite what he needs on curve. Ossification, that's fine.
Not worth the effort.
get to kill the companion as well, which is nice. We will uptick.
Go ahead. Plead for mercy.
And swing. Wow. Okay. Well, we'll play another Bloodtithe Harvester. And I think we got him next turn. We even kind of got mana screwed a bit. I think he got a little flooded. Cosmic Rebirth. Sure. Weaver. My turn. Tempted to just kill everything with Karsus. I don't really like the idea of losing the Harvesters, but I think we just gotta. Depending on how he blocks. If he gets down to just 2, we could just play 2 Invasion of Azgols, right? If he gets down to 2 and we have a Harvester left alive. Otherwise, it still doesn't make sense.
My revenge will be cruel and painful.
I suppose I should have activated Ob Nixilis first. That's okay. We still got him. Easy. Azgol. We got him. This is keepable. We'll lead with the Haunted Ridge, so we can play Harvester on 2. Forge on 3. Karsus on 4, wipe his board. Things should be looking pretty up. And I'll just trade. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to be sweeping the rest of the game anyway. No reason to let myself get corrupted. Sure. Swing 2 at the Invasion of Karsus. Shieldred the asshole. Well, guess we'll do it like this. Either we get to flip the Karsus, or your shield is dead. Sick. Okay with that. Even though we're probably sunfalling eventually anyway, we'll get some damage out of it in the meantime, and then our Sunfall token will be a little bit bigger from sacking the, or exiling the Refraction Elemental. Sick. Just give me a land. Just give me a land, baby. Of course you don't give me a land, you son of a bitch. That one can't block. This is frustrating. Do something like that. If we play Wedding Announcement, we draw a card. But it's going to be really hard to survive next turn. And in fact, drawing cards is probably bad. Let's play the blocker. Ping them for 4. And then end the turn. Just need to Sunfall. We just need to Sunfall. Interesting. I'll take 5. I mean, we're doing a shit ton of damage to you next turn. Unless you got something up your sleeve. You're out of your mind. You are absolutely out of your mind. God bless you. I don't know why he thought he could survive doing that. He's got to have something else in his hand, right? Oh, man. Zoosong? Who's a Zoosong? You's a Zoosong? We'll keep 7. Playing against aggro or mid-range, this will be pretty good. So we can Azgol on 2. Not the best card to hit with it, but we'll take it. Nothing on 2, huh? It's kind of weird. Okay. This hand's a little weird, but we can make it work. Start with the Cliffs. Alright, Forge. I guess we play Harvester. Probably just going to cut it down. Going to play a creature on his turn. Then we'll probably Azgol it. Hopefully we don't miss a land drop though. Okay, I guess we play another Harvester. And got a second cut down. Trespasser. That's fine. That's quacktastic. We'll make him sack it so we don't have to target it because of ward. We're in a pretty good position now. Alright. Shielder the Apocalypse. That's fine. We will Azgol again. Play another Harvester. Swing at that one. Now we should be able to flip them both next turn. Or we just Sunfall. That's an option as well. Don't think we Sunfall yet. I think I'm going to save it. Maybe we do Sunfall. I don't have the white mana yet, so we're going to have to kind of play around that. Let's just do this. Alright, he'll trade with that. Take out the Fable. Oh, right. I keep forgetting Invasion of New Capenna can only target artifacts or creatures. I have to remember that. It's a key part of the card. Alright, well, we have Menace. So I'm not super worried. Sack you. as well equip you. End the turn. If he swings with the Trespasser, he gets to eat a Rite of Oblivion. But every turn we can just pay 1 and use a blood token to make sure these guys get counters. So I think it might be better to keep them around and just try to win. Maybe not so much anymore. Yeah, I guess that's it. But at least we forced him to use some of his assets, right? Problem is we need to top deck white land in order to use this Sunfall. Chances are very slim, so I think we're just going to ditch it. And hope that amongst the next 2 cards we can find something that works for that trade. Graveyard Trespasser. That'll do it. Get our second white too, so if we get another Sunfall, should be okay. Flip the Karsus. For what it's worth, we have things on the field that will eventually lead to a win. Unless he Invoke Despairs. Which he will. And we'll be sad and we'll go to the next game. Yep, it is a banned deck. It's true. That was unfortunate. Swing 6. Go for the throat. End the turn. So we could theoretically swing 11 next turn. It's not going to be enough. It's getting mighty close. It's getting mighty close. Gotta keep it day. We can lose just from him playing the Trespasser if we let it go tonight. Swing 7. We've got lethal next turn if he can't kill us. This is right down to the wire, guys. Does he have a way of dealing 1 extra point of damage? Oh my god. Now imagine if there was no Invoke Despair here. Yes. Sack the Holy Frazzle Cannon. Discard Sundown Pass. Swing for 8. Does he have instant speed removal? Oh my god, he does. This is the closest game I've played in a long time. Harvester. Not quite. Invasion of New Capenna. Ah, we got him. So close. It's a little slow. 2 forges is tempting though. If we can survive long enough to pull this off, we'll be fine. We'll see. Jawbone duels. Alright, we got our Azgol, so I think we'll be okay. Next turn we forge, and then we've got Rite of Oblivions up the wazoo. Or we could just hold Eiganjo and kill the Contaminator. I think it's okay to go to 2 poison counters to do this. Alright, if we attack with our Forge token, he's just gonna chump with the Crawling Chorus, right? So we just have to sack it to Rite of Oblivion now. I think. Cameo's safekeeping. Oh, okay. Wow. I wasn't prepared for that. I literally did not even expect that at all. I guess we'll have to write the Crawling Course so he doesn't get a token. We have to slow down the amount of poison counters he's giving us, so even though I hate wasting it on the Crawling Course, not knowing for sure if we'll have a good opportunity to still deal with the Contaminator, at least we have a chance of still dealing with the Contaminator, whereas I feel like if they keep the Crawling Course around as well, we're just getting way too many poison counters way too quick. Alright, another Contaminator. Let's see what we can do. We're going to use one of these, because I want to save the New Capenna for when we can double spell. So you have another one. Does he have another one? Alright, we got it. Cool. So now if we top deck a land, we could play like either the Wedding Announcement or another Forge, as well as an Invasion of New Capenna. And that's pretty strong. We did not, so we're just going to have to do it like this. Swing. If he blocks and trades, then cool. We don't even have to use Invasion of New Capenna. Does not. So I'll do the same thing I did last time. Use the thing that's actually going to use up all of our mana. Save the cheaper thing for when we get another land it can double spell. Yeah, you're right, by the way, Rarity Reigns. I know you said it like 5 minutes ago, but Invoke chains are the worst. The absolute worst. Get rid of that Skrell's High with Invasion of Ravnica. And then we'll swing at the Invasion of Ravnica and flip it. Guild Pact Paragons coming out to play. Oh, use Valorous Stance on it. Okay. That's fine, that's fine. Oh, he drew a land. At least he can make a Mirrex. I like the emotes. I like this opponent. They're good fun. Alright, we do have lethal next turn. Unless he deals with what's on the board. Even without the Harvester, we can play the Forge, and we'd be swinging in for a total of 10. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. We're working hard to get to 2,000 subscribers now because we blew right past 1,000. So make sure you like and subscribe. Also, if you'd like more Magic deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere over there. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.